Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Tevise T801 homage to a Rolex Submariner. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing a Pagani Design PD 1680 homage to a Grand Seiko diver. I don't know which Grand Seiko diver because I don't know that much about Grand Seiko. And Grogo is wearing my North Edge Mars watch. There's a new Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming out, and I asked Grogu who he thought played a better Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor or Sir Alec Guinness. He said that Guinness's acting was a bit more stout. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this box. Not all sub-$20 watches come in boxes. Comes with an unsigned warranty card. Says I'm a VIP, the instructions. And here's the watch. When it comes to AliExpress sub-homages, there are all kinds of price ranges. This Tevise is sub-$20, which is about as cheap as you can get, although there are a few brands in the $10 range. When watches become so cheap, there are obvious sacrifices. Chrome-plated cases, minimal water resistance, Chinese quartz movements, Lume that is barely there. Even though we all love a bargain, those of us who enjoy watches are probably not going to be happy with a sub-$20 watch, so why even review it at all? I do not review watches with the goal of roasting them. The only watch I've ever had on my channel with the sole purpose of mockery is that $5.50 AliExpress movement knockoff, and that was only because a few viewers said I was too stupid to know there was no difference. It's mainly just curiosity. These AliExpress ads have such pretty pictures of these ultra-affordable watches, and I always wonder just what the real thing is going to look like. And when the review is over, I seem to have no problem selling these watches, so somebody must want them. The watch is 42 millimeters at the bezel, so it's a bit bigger than a sub. 50.7 millimeters lug to lug, 56.3 if you measure the protruding end links. It is 13 millimeters thick if you don't measure the Cyclops, has a 20 millimeter lug width, and weighs 121 grams with one link removed. The bezel is a 60 click unidirectional with a non-ceramic insert. The clicks are loud, but it has this cheap mushy feel. And there is plenty of wobble and back play. Lots of back play. Look at that. Serious back play. The nice thing though is if it doesn't line up, you can make it line up. But I think it lines up pretty good. The dial is a blue with a sunburst effect. Tevise name and logo on top, as well as the word quartz. And then on the bottom, it says Superlative Chronometer Officially Certified. And you would have to be officially certified to believe that. It is irrelevant anyway due to the fact that this is a quartz watch and even the cheapest quartz movements are chronometer accurate. And COSC certification only means something on a mechanical watch anyway. We have applied luminescences with the typical sub layout and shapes, pencil minute hand and Mercedes hour hand. The lollipop on the second hand is a little bit farther than it should be. The second hand hits the marks in some parts and misses on others. At least it hits the 12 o'clock perfectly. Has a date at the 3 with a Cyclops that is seriously misaligned. I mean, look at that. That 20 is right there on the left edge. Not even, you have to tilt it this much to make it look centered. And it hardly magnifies at all. I mean, there it is without magnification, with magnification. Probably a 0.5 at the best. The unsigned crown is a push-pull. Crown action doesn't feel super loose when you go to move the hands. But, unfortunately, it does have that annoying habit when you press in the crown, the minute hand jumps. So it makes setting the watch pretty annoying. This seems to be pretty common in cheap Chinese quartz watches. Has a flat glass crystal which sits just above the bezel insert, just barely. Has a chrome plated alloy case with significant crown guards. The crown guards actually stick up almost as much as the crown. The case back has a coin edge and it says stainless steel back. Then it says water resistant. Stainless steel back is another tell that the case itself is not stainless steel. Otherwise, it would say all stainless steel. And even though it has a coin edge, this is not a screw-down case back. If you look right here, you can see the slot where you can put a pry bar to pry it off. So this is not a screw down case back, and you only have 30 meters of water resistance, so why would you expect one anyway? I don't know the make or model of the movement. One can only assume it is Chinese and of no prominence. The oyster style bracelet has hollow protruding end links. Believe it or not, the bracelet is pretty good. I would say the bracelet's probably the nicest thing about the watch, as long as you don't count the really crappy clasp. The links appear to be solid, and it has polished center links with side links. Even though they're hollow end links, there's a little bit of wobble there, but not a lot, none at all there, and it's very comfortable. So yeah, I like the bracelet. It has push pin adjusters, of course. You're not going to get screw pins at this price. In fact, though, sometimes I prefer push pin anyway because it's just easier. And they even threw in this adjusting tool, so it makes pushing out the pins really easy. Unfortunately, the clasp does not match up to the rest of the bracelet. The clasp is really cheap, pressed, and it only has 2 holes of micro adjust. The trouble with the single side push clasp is the mechanism takes up most of the room of the clasp, so they can't have more than a couple holes of micro adjust. I think there's other clasps they could have used and still kept the price down. So yeah, I do not like this clasp at all. Here's the watch of my 7.5-inch wrist. Once again, it's a hair bigger than a typical sub, but not that much bigger. I think anybody can pull this off unless you have a really tiny wrist. And once again, I like the bracelet. It's comfortable. I just wish the clasp was better, but I think it wears nice and flat. Here we are in the Lume room. A sub $20 watch is not going to have good Lume, but we'll test it anyway. As we speed up the time, the minute hand fades almost immediately. The 6, 9, and 12 aren't awful, but it does no good to see indices if you can't see the hands. What do I like about this watch? Well, the bracelet. Once again, if you don't count this crappy clasp, the bracelet's good. And I like the dial. It's got a nice sunburst effect. It's a good looking dial. And I like the fit. It fits nice, wears nice, it's comfortable. What are my gripes and groans? Well, the minute hand jumps when you push in the crown. Show you again. Just the process of trying to push it usually moves the minute hand. And I don't like this cheap clasp with only 2 holes of micro adjust. And the Cyclops is seriously misaligned. Either that or the date is misaligned with the Cyclops. So maybe they buy these crystals with the Cyclops already on and they just don't match the date. Do I recommend this watch? Well, that depends on what you want to spend. If you want to spend less than $20, then it's not awful. But you could spend $40 and get an anti-dive quartz sub that blows this one out of the water. So once again, it just depends on what you want to spend. Personally, I don't think I would ever keep this. This is going to Facebook when I'm done. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Tevise T801, homage to a sub. And I will be back with another review or unboxing. I'll probably be reviewing that Pagani design I'm wearing right now. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.